What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Boom! What's up, everybody? Another episode where I'm talking about another movie. And yes, it is another Rob Zombie movie. The Lords of Salem came out, came out 2013. It was quite a while ago. Kind of, in my opinion, one of the least Rob Zombie movies. Now, I didn't go back and rewatch. He did, I think, a couple Halloween remakes. Haven't watched those. But compared to, let's say, 31, which I talked about yesterday, or House of a Thousand Corpses, or Devil's Rejects, they all kind of have a very similar feel and aesthetic to them. This one, a little bit different, takes place, instead of a desert, takes place up in like the opposite of a desert, takes place up in Oregon, up in Salem. Is that Salem, Oregon? Is that right? Oregon? Yeah. I'll read the synopsis and get into it. A radio DJ, Sheri Moon Zombie, Rob Zombie's wife, who plays the radio DJ. It's Massachusetts. I don't know why I said Oregon. Did I say Oregon? What's wrong with me, people? Salem, Massachusetts. Still, opposite of a desert. A radio DJ in Salem, Mass. is plagued by nightmarish visions of vengeful witches after she plays a record by a mysterious group known only as the Lords. So it's like same actors that are in his other movies for the most part. His wife, who's in everything. I think she's a good actress. I do. This movie kind of it's the most like standard horror feel for Rob Zombie because it doesn't have his like look and aesthetic of it. It looks and feels more of like a traditional, like everything's gloomy, and it just I don't know. I don't think it fit. I don't think his style fits that aesthetic. But box office wise, this did far better than the last one. And I don't know. I didn't really buy them like their trio of a radio hosts. I didn't necessarily buy. They get this record, this pressed vinyl, in like a super cool like wooden case. But it's like just the premise is like there's these witches that are, casting these spells or whatever, and they pass on, almost similar to like The Ring, where you can kind of pass on a spell or a curse through a piece of medium, like a VHS tape or a vinyl record. They pass on this song that like curses people or unlocks, them or controls them or does whatever, and they're able to do that in a record. And just the premise is just like there's so much stretching going on for this premise to work. A lot of naked old ladies, very shriveled up, bad, just made to look as witchly as possible. I mean, those kind of period pieces. It is kind of interesting to see Rob Zombie because there's moments and flashbacks in this movie that are of a different period, back, Salem witch trial period. So it is kind of interesting to see Rob Zombie do a little period directing, but just the whole thing just didn't really work for me. I was kind of bored. The premise I didn't really care about. I didn't find it necessarily scary, mostly because I wasn't really in it. I've seen this done, and I've seen it done better. Like just The Ring, The Ring is very similar in a lot of ways. Now, the effect of whatever this medium has on you is different, but there's a more stress involved with The Ring, I think, than what this movie does. And it's just like weak. Everything's kind of weak. Like he took these actors and Rob Zombie tried to do more of a genre, like more traditional genre piece, and I just don't think it worked as well. I wasn't as much of a fan of the Lords of Salem. Um, yeah, and just how the title of this movie comes in. I mean, it's one of those movies where it's like the package says the Lords, so like the radio, we're gonna call them the Lords of Salem, and then this historian guy finds in an old book that the witches used to call themselves the Lords of Salem. It's like, what's the point? Like, this is really bad writing. Like, just really bad writing. It's like, why that's not what would be in the book. It wouldn't be like, oh, the name that the radio DJs came up with, the Lords, is they came, and it's like, why they play it again? There's just so many things that just don't make sense. I was so tapped out of it. It wasn't like horrible. It just didn't get my attention. It just wasn't for me. There's some horror movies where it's like, if it doesn't catch me, like if the premise of the horror film is that like God and the devil are real, I'm out. I'm out. I'm done with that universe of fictional characters. Like demons and angels, I'm not interested. It doesn't entertain me. It doesn't interest me. I'm more scared of like people like in Creep, where it's just real people, or like in Swipe Up, where you have kids that are just wearing like creepy masks and shit. Like, I don't mind supernatural. I don't mind zombie. I'm not a big fan of vampire, but I prefer vampire. But the whole religious thing as a horror film does not work for me, and neither this movie. So that's it, everybody. Izzy wants me to finish even. I'm out of here. Have a great day. Oh, follow me at Ray Taylor. Social media, inspireddisorder.com for all the work that I do. And have a great day. Have a great week. Peace out.